Sup guys, and welcome to another episode of Muslim Point of View. And let's just jump straight into it with our Dumbo of the Week. For this week's Dumbo of the Week, we have to share some tragic news with regards to what happened in a mosque in Zurich. Now, it was reported that in Switzerland, a gunman opened fire in a Somali mosque, injuring 3 people. Now, unfortunately, this man got away with it, and of course, he might have also been tied to a murder that happened on Sunday. Police say that the suspect is only 24 years old and might have already claimed his own life after committing such an atrocious crime. What's really dumb about this story is, of course, this guy is what we would call a Muslim hater. This is partly thanks to the different people that we've been talking about, this whole Trump ideology. Everyone hates everyone else just because we're different. Sometimes it's okay to disagree with another ideology, with another religion, but to go so far as to kill a person just because they're different, now that's just a little bit overboard. Anyways, we pray that those who were injured are recovering and that they're gonna get better and on their feet as soon as possible. But enough of that, and let's just jump into our bows of the week. This week's boss of the week is none other than Jake Austin. This man, who comes from St. Louis, bought a $5,000 truck and installed sinks and showers in it just for the homeless people. It is said that it could shower about 50 different people in 8 hours. Now that is simply amazing. I mean, this guy's got to be super selfless to invest $5,000 just for the homeless. What's beautiful about this story is that in a year like 2016, we've seen the worst of the worst that has happened so far. We finally have people like him bringing a change in the world, a positive impact. What's also very important to note about this story is that homeless people are usually the ones who are the most neglected in a society. In fact, people usually look down upon them, treat them with rudeness. They don't even want to look at them sometimes. And for a guy like him to take the stance that he has taken so far, I mean, that is simply amazing. Now, the great thing about Jake is that he's actually trying to expand his project by trying to get even more people to benefit from this. So if you guys want to help and you guys want to contribute to the cause, you guys can definitely donate to showertothepeople.net. And that brings us to our global news of the week. And in this week's global news, we have a Turkish policeman who shot a Russian ambassador in Ankara. Now, supposedly this Turkish man, Mevlut Altina, shot Andrei Karlov because of the fact that he was enraged with what was happening in Syria. Now, as you guys might know, the Iranian and the Russian military have been trying to seize the land of Aleppo slowly but surely on a daily basis. So this man, Mevlut Altina, shot Andrei Karlov, the ambassador, because of the fact that, he blames him for Russia's shameful part in killing the innocent. Now, of course, everybody knows that this guy is a scumbag himself for killing another innocent man, even though, he's supposed to be a Muslim, and Muslims shouldn't be killing any innocent people to begin with, because it's against our religion. Not only did he kill a man without any right whatsoever, but supposedly this guy also went so far as to lie and call in sick on the day just so that he can, go ahead and kill someone. Now, of course, if you know these simple facts, it's easy to tell that this guy wasn't really that religious to begin with. And it was later revealed that this man might have some ties to this thug organization called the FETO, which is F-E-T-O, which is of course a terrorist organization. All I gotta say is that I'm sick of these Muslim crazies killing people on a daily basis in the name of our beautiful religion. This actually brings me to my rant of the week, which is, why is it that every time these things happen, they have to blame Islam as a whole? I mean, if you read any article about that news, for example, and you just read the comment section, you'll see a whole bunch of people saying enough is enough with these Islams. What's important to highlight is that this has nothing to do with Islam. In fact, it's just a bunch of crazy people doing crazy things and blaming it on a religion at the end of the day. For example, I could take this watch and, kill someone with it and then say, well, in the name of this watch, I killed someone. What are we gonna do next? Ban all watches? Say, hey, we should blame all the watches for the killings. What's sad about this whole thing is that you find these crazies in all religions, in all, ideologies, in all ethnic groups, right? There's always gonna be that one crazy guy who ruins the whole picture. The only difference is that the media highlights one story and decides to completely ignore the other. And this is, something that we have to talk about. Why is it that, for example, when an average white citizen commits a crime, whether it be, killing 100 people or 10 people or so, that we say, oh my God, the crazy guy shot the guy, or a gunman shot the guy. But when it comes to, a Muslim person who does this, a terrorist did so, a terrorist did that. And just look at the first story that we talked about, right? Our Dumbo of the week. That guy was labeled as a gunman. He wasn't labeled as a crazy or a terrorist. And then you look at like, for example, this Turkish guy, right? They didn't call him a Turkish guy or like, you know, a policeman. They just called him a terrorist. They said the terrorist killed the ambassador. And the problem in all of this is that it actually desensitizes people from looking at Muslims as normal human beings. People will start to disassociate themselves from Muslims and alienate them, and of course this could lead to even more issues like bullying, intimidation, racist crimes, and so on and so forth. Because of all of this, we start to focus less on the positive things that Muslims bring, or, you know, Islam brings, and we only focus on, you know, the negative bad things that are highlighted in the media. And the thing that we forget the most is that bad things happen to Muslim people on a daily basis too. That's why I want to thank congressmen like Van Jones for, you know, sharing good things about Muslims and highlighting the great things that they bring into, you know, an average human being's life. But enough of that, and let's jump into our what of the week. For our what segment, we've got a story about some policemen in upstate New York. Supposedly a bunch of passerbys were walking by a parked car, and in it they saw what looked like an unresponsive elderly woman who was freezing to death. Of course, they did what every good Samaritan would do, and so they called the cops to get this woman some help. The cops come in and they break the window of the Subaru trying to save this woman's life. Don't worry, we're coming to get ya! Freeze! Oh wait. She's already frozen. So now that they have the window broken and all, and they're trying to save this woman's life, well, guess what they find out? That's right, this woman is just a mannequin. Of course, the owner of the vehicle comes back after a while later and finds the cops there, and he explains the whole situation. Turns out that this man was actually a CPR specialist, and that the dummy that was right there in the passenger seat was what you would call a CPR training device. Now the questions start pouring all of a sudden. For starters, why does this man have a dummy buckled into the passenger seat? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I always keep my dummies in the driver's seat, because apparently anyone that I'm usually driving with is literally a dummy and can't drive. But at least he was responsible enough, and of course he didn't put that dummy in his driver's seat. Hey yo, don't forget to turn left, eh? Oh wait. And thank God this guy was a CPR specialist. I mean, imagine if he was a bank robber. Hey yo buddy, hurry up, the cops are coming. Drive! Another question I have is, why is it that the dummy is an old lady? I mean, was his class titled, you know, CPR for old ladies? Why is it that it's not like, you know, a regular dummy that you see everywhere, like this one, for example, right? Why does it have to be such a realistically looking old woman with an oxygen mask? Another question I have is, why is she even wearing an oxygen mask to begin with? Does this dummy have asthma or something? Anyways, I hope it was worth the back window that the policeman smashed. Tell you one thing though, if this person was a part of the mannequin challenge, they'd be amazing. That brings us to our last story, which is the LOL of the week. And in this week's LOL of the week, we've got a story for you, gentlemen. And the story is about twins who got caught stealing 180 bars of soap. You heard right, gentlemen, bars of soap. I mean, a few weeks back, we had a guy who stole some gold. Now we have some people stealing soap. What's next? You know, golden soap? And the story goes that the twins were actually about to get away with it. But then, of course, they had to run into a trash can, a cart, and then, of course, run into a cop that was just somehow investigating an accident at that place. I guess they couldn't get a clean getaway even with all of that soap. They would have slipped away with it if it wasn't for that cop. I mean, good thing they weren't in prison when they dropped that soap. Honestly, maybe some time in prison is good for them as they can clean up their act. I mean, can you imagine if those guys got away with it and then somehow ended up on Oprah, right? Would it be called a soap opera? Who knows? Maybe they were the soap suppliers to the, you know, shower to the people guy. And if they got away with it, one thing's for sure, they would have been good on soap for an entire decade. And that brings us to our question of the week. What would you guys do with 180 bars of soap? That's all for today. And if you guys like this video, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And once again, don't forget to keep it halal. And also, don't forget to check out these awesome shirts right here. I'm actually wearing one. Lastly, guys, I'm going to be releasing an app very, very soon called Pain Escape. Check it out. It's an awesome game. I'm going to be releasing a trailer of it soon as well. Please support it, like, share it. With that, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.